I wish to recognize the chairperson of today's proceedings, Mr. Max Hurst, our leader, the Honorable Gaston Brown, and soon to be our Prime Minister. Honorable Senator Chet Green, Chairman of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, fellow candidates, specially invited guests, comrades, and friends. As you would have heard, my task to complete in 7 minutes is just to speak and give you a little highlight on 3 main aspects. That is law and order, gender issues, and healthcare. On the issue of law and order, let me give you a little background. In February of 2012, Antigua and Barbuda was of the 7 Caribbean countries surveyed in the Caribbean Human Development Report. The survey found that 22.4% of Antiguans and Barbudans feared their homes would be broken into at night, and 20.9% feared being robbed at gunpoint. Researchers cited that such crimes as feared were often associated with inequalities, especially relative to poverty. The United Nations Development Program noted that in the case of small countries such as Antigua and Barbuda, even minor increases in the occurrences of crime could have dramatic effect on the per capita rates. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, as the next government to be sworn in within a matter of days, recognizes the importance of ensuring that our borders are made more secure. Accordingly, we will seek assistance from international agencies, and we will also introduce scanning and other surveillance equipment at all ports of entry to assist in reducing the importation of contrabands, to include, but not limited to, firearms and ammunition. Appreciative of the fact that many wish to ensure that they are able to enjoy security in their homes as well as their businesses, the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party will allow all equipment related to security to be landed duty-free and tax-free here in Antigua and Barbuda. Of course, any meaningful effort to address crime will require providing the necessary support and resource to our Royal Police Force. Investigative and crime detection, modern practices, and technology shall replace all antiquated systems. There will be programs related to continuous education and development of skills for efficient and effective service by members of our Royal Police Force. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party is aware that many of our police officers have given much dedicated service, which clearly has affected them personally as well as their families. An Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government will introduce a law titled the Jeremiah Dodds-Joseph Act to allow spouses of police officers who have served more than 30 years to receive a portion of the officer's pension for the rest of their life. An Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government recognizes that most important to saving our young men and women from victims of criminal destruction, that they must be educated as to the impact of not only their participation within crime, but more so the effects of crime, not only on the lives of those who commit it, but also those who are victims of crime. Our young men and women who find themselves on the wrong side of the law must not be ignored. And therefore, positive educational and rehabilitative programs must be introduced so as to effectively have such persons integrated into society to make meaningful and positive contributions. I will now move on to the area of cost of living. I was told to deal with women issues, but I personally am of the view that all issues affect us as women, and so therefore, none are more important than the other. However, I recognize that due to the sheer dedication and commitment of our women to manage the household and families, that the cost of living must be a main concern for all our women. An Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government, recognizing the significantly high unemployment rate which has developed within Antigua and Barbuda in the last 10 years, and the obvious hardship on families and households this has caused many, in particular our single mothers, will provide a fresh new start to those whose electricity and water are disconnected up until the 31st of December 2013. You would have heard Comrade Leader address this as Jumpstart. And so, in addition, a Labour Party government has heard much talk and propaganda by the other party that a Labour Party government will eliminate the social programs to include the school meals program and the school uniforms grant. This government will not eliminate these programs, but we will ensure that all vendors who have not been paid by the UPP and who have ceased to honor the uniform vouchers will be paid, and the program will be made even much more better and more substantial. In fact, we anticipate that our economy will grow in the first 5 years, that perhaps there will be no real need for these programs eventually. As to the school meals program, an Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government will remove the $5 fee currently being charged, thereby putting back into the pockets of the parents per child $200 per annum. We also recognize that many of our women care for our elderly. A Labour Party government will introduce a cost of living adjustment program so as to compensate our pensioners for the cost of living increases which they have had to endure in the last 10 years. A Labour Party government will continue the PDV program which currently exists and assist our elderly with utilities and food items. On the health care, many of our women suffer the challenge of having to register late and in some instances, never even being able to register the birth of their newborns because of an unlawful practice currently in existence at the Mount St. John Medical Center. The laws of Antigua and Barbuda require that every birth within Antigua and Barbuda be registered. A Labour Party government will ensure that the Mount St. John Medical Center complies with the laws, thereby ensuring our new citizens receive their birth certificates. The Mount St. John's Medical Center has fallen very short of the vision that the Labour Party government had so as to provide first-class medical care for our citizens. The Labour Party government, under the leadership of Gaston Brown, will ensure that the Mount St. John's Medical Center is provided with the necessary resources, supplies, and equipment required for a fully functional, state-of-the-art hospital. We will ensure that first-class medical treatment and support are provided for those who suffer with major medical conditions, especially as it relates to HIV and AIDS, as well as cancer and cancer treatment, any other medical treatment. The vision of the Labour Party government was to ensure that all these conditions would be effectively treated at the Mount St. John's Medical Center. Hence, the agreement entered into by the UPP government with a privately owned entity will be reviewed so as to ensure that such care is provided to all citizens of Antigua and Barbuda at an affordable rate. All clinics will be upgraded, and those which are located in more densely populated areas will be upgraded to polyclinics to relieve the burden currently placed on the emergency room at the Mount St. John's Medical Center. Additionally, there will be a pickup and delivery service provided for elderly and incapacitated who require medication from medical benefits. Such will operate within the communities from all clinics which are identified as distribution points. Because a Labour Party government recognizes that there is an increase of drug and alcohol abuse amongst our young people, we want to ensure that all efforts are made to eliminate this plague from our society. Hence, rehabilitation centers and programs will be developed through establishing public-private partnership to encompass and properly staff a center in order to rehabilitate persons who are so willing to be treated. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government, when it comes to the issue of law and crime, matters pertaining to cost of living, and matters pertaining to healthcare, we are ready to rebuild. We have a vision, and we are ready to move forward. We ask you, join with us as we put these programs together effective from the 12th of June, 2012.